Lions Den with Stephen Carr. Stephen Carr. Today we are going to be talking about the PAGOP establishment versus the MAGA movement here in Pennsylvania and how they are doing the purge of Republican MAGA women and men, committee men and women in the PAGOP in counties after county, and how they are doing a power grab. They are doing a power grab for how they are doing a power grab for uh, power grab to restore, take to take back control of the PAGOP and put rhinos in and freaking women. The GOP committees are draining everywhere, guys. They're draining the committee everywhere, and it's from Cumberland County, Fayette County. Um, People are leaving precincts or leaving their committee position, even in New York, because they're tired of it, don't want it anymore. Um, but they are taking back. This all started back in 2023 when Josh Trent ran. Josh Trent, a respective attorney for Second Amendment rights, and uh, Second Amendment rights and freedom of speech, freedom of religion. The guy has morals. The guy has guts, guys. He ran twice against, um, once against Megan Martin, who was the PAGOP establishment pick, who have never, in 2023, who has never been in front of a Commonwealth court before, and then in 2025, in the primary that passed, he ran against Ann Wheatcraft, no, Matt Warford. He ran against Matt Warford. Matt Warford. Sorry. Who who was the PAGOP establishment candidate. And um, really, and so they decided not to endorse him on both, not to endorse Josh Trent on both primary endorsements in 2023 and in 2024 because they thought that he wasn't qualified enough and that he couldn't make it. This time, the PAGOP endorsement wasn't fair, and he ran anyway to have democracy on the ballot, to have a choice whether who the people want to pick, instead of who the PAGOP establishment have to pick. Um, he has to pick. So, with that said, people started supporting Josh Trent in 2023, and we're getting 9 people were kicked out of the GOP. 9 people were kicked out of the GOP committees, the PAGOP, for supporting Josh Trent in the in the in the committee because he was unendorsed. Again, more people are being kicked out. This time it's women who are um, women who are exposing the corruption in the PAGOP, women who are speaking up for the bylaws of the PAGOP and county GOPs and seeing how contradictory they have been with the bylaws and the county GOP bylaws. They're doing a purge, guys. They're doing a freaking purge to get rid of MAGA movement, get rid of the MAGA. Look, the MAGA are the grassroots guys. Look, even the PAGOP chair, Greg Rothman, said in an interview that the county GOPs are the grassroots. These guys are the ones that are doing the door knocking. These are the ones that are out making the calls, putting up signs, standing outside their precinct, handing out information to neighbors and getting people involved in their committee, in their county committee. This is the grassroots. Pennsylvania is a grassroots populist movement state. This is a working class state for PAGOP, for working class people. People in the county GOP, you'll find people from union workers, blue collar workers, conservative parents, young conservatives, young Republicans, America Firsters, um, that are just angry they're just angry the way the party is leading people and want to change. They want to change it to the common sense party. They want to change it to the mega party, the People's Party. They want to change it to the grassroots party. They want to change it completely for the better, guys. But the only way to do that is become involved in your local GOP. And I said this all over again. The precinct committee people, precinct committeemen is the most powerful office in the country. Why is that? Because the precinct committeemen vote on county party leadership. County party leadership then votes on state party leadership, and then state party leadership then votes on uh, RNC leadership. It's real political power. It's simple. No precinct committeeman, no Republican Party. And if there's no Republican Party, then the rhinos are going to take care of it. The rhinos are going to put up establishment pick after establishment pick, purge mega conservatives after mega conservatives in the committees, in the PAGOP. They don't want you guys in there. They don't want us in there, guys. And it's because we're loud, we're populist. They don't recognize the party as it is, and it's time to get involved and take it over. This is the future of Pennsylvania. This is the future of America. This is where we deconstruct the administrative state. This is where we drain the deep state. This is where we get involved every single day. Pay attention to what is going on in your election. Pay attention to what's going on in this coming election. Look, it's the people's choice. It's the people's choice to even get these 3 judges out that have voted to kick the third party off the ballot in 2020, that voted for Tom Wolf lockdown in 2020. I'm sure that you're ready to take back what is yours. Your business was shut down. Your schools had to wear masks. You could not go anywhere. You had to be 6 feet away from people even when it was in the yellow phase, when you could be somewhere. You were locked in your house. You were locked down in your house. Well, you had to be virtually taught by your teachers in schools. Then you had to go from that to wearing masks for another so, and then it was back to wearing masks again after it was in the yellow phase because the virus kept on progressing and the rules kept on getting more stricter. So I'm sure you lost thousands of money. This is a working class state. This is a blue collar state, a populous state. And so we need to continue to keep on doing what we need, keep on being vigilant and being aware of what is going on in your county and in your school district and in your elections every single year here. But look, guys, the PAGOP is nothing but establishment endorsement machine, and it can hardly beat grassroots. But it did. It did in 2025. It beat it. It beat Maria Batista, who was the grassroots pick against Ann Wheatcraft, who beat Ann Wheatcraft in the 2025 primary for her second run. This girl just keeps on. This girl keeps on going, and she's still going, guys. I mean, for the love of everything, she's out there doing event after event after event, talking to people even after the election is over. These are the kind of hard workers that we need in our state government, in our state judges. Not some guy like Matt Wolford who said on a podcast that the only time he believes in the original intent of the Constitution is when it applies to that, when it subjectively applies to that issue, not all the time. He was also a big Biden EPA lawyer who did not fight once for the people, but he also fought. He didn't fight for the people; he fought for the government. He consented to the government. But Josh Prince, who ran against him, is for the people. This guy is about everything grassroots and mega as you can get. He wanted the people to have a prosty guidebook. So people can stand in court themselves and represent themselves and teach them how to do that. They wanted, he stood in court multiple times in front of Commonwealth Court. There was nobody more qualified than him. But the PAGOP again wanted wanted Matt Wolford wanted Matt Wolford endorsed, who said that he doesn't know how he's going to win the general election. He didn't have any information, he didn't have any flyers, he didn't have any website on him, and so he won because he didn't have that. Um, but the PA, they're encouraging, but if we don't have a party to put up these candidates that are going to fight against the establishment pick, because I want to see everything come crashing down on the establishment. I want to reconstruct the administrative state. I want people to be aware of what's going on. I want people to know this is how we get involved, and it's by people like you getting involved in your Republican Party. Look, we got another 20. These we got another 20. But we got 2026 coming up, and we got state committee seats and county committee seats up for run. We got a governor candidate who refused to run, who decided not to run. Dan Muser decided not to run for 2026 governorship, leaving that to Stacey Garrity to run and make her announcement to run. Will Stacey Garrity run, and will she get the grassroots support because she threw the grassroots under the bus by making that robocall to support and recraft the establishment pick. Stacey Garrity, if you're going to run, you're going to need to regain the trust and support of the grassroots at this point. But after all, she is the only candidate that can beat Josh Shapiro in 2026. Why do I say that? Because let me tell you, she had the most votes for a statewide election race in 2024, with 3.9 million votes for a statewide row office race in 2024, beating Josh Shapiro's 2.9 million votes in 2022. She also won the ticket. She also won the ticket. Won the ticket without Trump and won the ticket with Trump. Look, PA is not a extreme right state. It's not an extreme left state. Even John Fetterman gets it. That's why he's now more moderate. He knows his time is up, and that he knows that if he goes too far left and too far right, he's not going to win the election that's coming up in 2028, I believe. I could be wrong about that one. But look, and Doug Mastriano could not win a statewide race. He lost by a huge margin because he went too far right. He went too far left. And he lost the grassroots when they wanted election integrity. When they wanted election integrity. And he wasn't there for him. Yeah, sure. Let's have everybody re-register to vote. Do you know how many people are in Pennsylvania that are going to actually re-register to vote? It's a lot of people, all the Republicans in Pennsylvania and Democrats in Pennsylvania that are not going to like that idea, like he said. Then he went too far right on the abortion, and he lost the woman vote. You cannot go too far and lose the woman vote. But again, he lost the grassroots. Again, he lost the grassroots when that happened. He lost the grassroots because he wasn't there when he said he was going to be there, and he wasn't supporting what he said he was going to support. But we need grassroots people, and because the grassroots is being purged. The MAGA movement is being purged by the PAGOP. People are leaving the party. People are leaving the party. People are being purged. We are losing respect in the PAGOP, as my friend Chet Jack said, who is in a state committee. Why are we losing that? Because we're putting up We're putting up bad candidates, thinking bad candidates, crappy candidates. I mean, just look at the past. We kept on losing. Sure, now the RNC is packed. Now our RNC is packed full of money and funding that we can do some good damage. And we got rid of Ronald McDaniel. Look, mega movement, the mega movement was even there even without Trump in office because we Kevin McCarthy, vacated Kevin McCarthy. We got rid of Ronald McDaniel. We filled the precinct committee seats and GOP seats, committeeman seats all across the country, Arizona to Pennsylvania to Maryland and so forth. And we can continue to do that. We must finish what we started, and it's the only way we can do that. Um, so there was one thing I wanted to pull up here. So this is from New York Dispatch. Look, York County's tiny boroughs wonder who will lead us now. Says it's been decades since anyone in Railroad Borough has run for council or mayor. The small community, nearly 250 people in southern York County, picked officials to write in, where voters put down names in empty boxes instead of filling in bubbles next to candidates. 10 write-ins in a borough primary can earn a person a spot on the general election ballot, a commonly used strategy. This year was different. This year was different. So without any name competition in the general election, in theory, a single write-in vote can earn someone a seat on Railroad's five-member council. In even other boroughs across the county, no one from no one from either party appeared on the voters' ballot for council and/or mayoral races in the May 20th primary, making write-in campaign the only pathway to electoral success. No candidates were on the ballot for council and mayor in Delta, Glenrock, Lewisberry, Railroad, and York Haven. Candidates ran unopposed for mayor in Manchester and Mount Wolf, but no one ran for either council. Council. North York mayoral primaries had no candidate. A town's lack of electoral options in May could be a product of apathy. People from generations younger than baby boomers are not lining up in droves to serve on municipal boards. The borough struggle to fill seats of power in their pockets of York County and around the state. People are working in local government are justified in wondering who will do this work decades from now. Sound Sound theories behind anemic participation describe busy schedules, hectic lifestyles, job conflicts, political violence, declining in volunteerism, and consistent dissidence, more inclined to rent. But with so many governments in Pennsylvania, political analyst Barwood Yost from Franklin Marshall and College explained that there could be too many kitchens for however many cooks are in the state and willing to do the often thankless work. Only Illinois, only Illinois, only Illinois and Minnesota have more than Pennsylvania's 2,558 municipalities. 72 of those are scaffolded within York County, tying Burke for fourth most in the state. Allegheny leads Pennsylvania with 128 local governments. Luzerne and Chester has 76 and 73 respectively. By its design, Pennsylvania has a lot of government requiring of a lot of people. You said you need a significant amount of human capital to fill these seats. And Kevin Schreiber, president and CEO of the York County Economic Alliance, he pointed to regional policing, where municipalities share costs for their local law enforcement. That's good policy. So there you have it. Look, they don't have even local liberal ragtag, local liberal ragtag people. Even the local, even the local, even the local people in railroad districts, even the local people in railroad districts and boroughs like this don't have people that are going to run for these. The sorry, um, the even the local railroad people are are railroad people in counties like that don't have people running on the ballot. It only takes 10 signatures to run on the ballot for these local community races, guys. So it's time to get involved. Just like it takes 10 signatures to become a just like it takes 10 signatures to become just like it takes 10 signatures to get involved in your county GOP or 10 write-ins become involved in your local GOP. And and so in we need to get involved in these counties because who's going to run these things when we don't? When nobody does. Democrats do. Liberals going to do it. Just like just like my just like the GOP chairman of York County said, we need more people running for judge of elections, more Republicans running for judge of elections, because if you don't, Democrats certainly will. And no doubt about it, I ran for judge of elections and school board in this race, and I got 59. I think I got 85 votes with a write-in, and I'm going to be on the primary ballot, and hopefully I'm going to out this Democrat incumbent who has been in, and I'm hoping so. Like I said, we need to get involved. This is it, guys. We need to continue to do it. To do it, um, we need to continue to get involved and continue to put your name on the ballot, run for these things, and get involved. Uh, so get involved in this election, or get involved everywhere in these elections. But the PAGOP, like I said, the PAGOP is being purged completely of mega conservative, and so we need to continue to keep filling these seats. And so we need to keep doing that. Look, I can't say much more for this, but this this is the grassroots, and we need to keep up the grassroots. We need the grassroots rising. I said it in many of my other ones that's going on. Um, that many of my other podcasts I put up. You can go check them out at the Lions Den. I got the last one I did was Grassroots Rising Part 2, and I did Grassroots Rising. Before that, I did Mega Under Attack. Um, so we need to keep it up. We need to keep doing what we need to do. Like I said, a reminder: we got 2020. The reminder is that we need a majority of people to show up in 2025 municipal election, November 20, November 4th, 2025, to kick out these rotten judges who have shut down your businesses, have made your children wear masks for months at a time, made you stand 6 feet away, um, and have not returned to normal for months, and then kicked the third party off the ballot, just like they kicked Biden off the ballot in 2024, um, and said that they stood for democracy. They also made you return send in mail-in ballots 3 days beyond 2020 election and on. That's where we at now with mail-in ballots. Look, mail-in ballots need to return to only overseas military and ballots. We need to return to small precincts, hand counted ballots, and the only way to do that is have America Firsters to come out and vote, to vote on every election for America First candidates and legislators and governors to win an election. We need to deconstruct the administrative state. We need to deconstruct the court. And we can have a majority of 5 Rs and 2 Ds and have a special election in 2027 and get involved by kicking these Democrats out and liberals out in 2020 and 2025 November 4th. So line up at your precinct, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and get involved. We also need people out there voting for school board races and municipal and township races, sheriff's races, county clerk, and so forth. Look, the York County, Pennsylvania turnout percentage was 10.64%, following less more than it was in 2023 when we had a 29.29 percentage turnout and still could not win statewide races. It's a miracle that even Maria Batista won the primary this year with 10.64%. Why was that? Because early voting in York County and mail-in ballots. People are too lazy to get up off their butt and go to the polling place. But also, mail-in ballots also ruined Josh Parsons' race in Lancaster County, and it was flooded with Democrat mail-in ballots. Also, Scott Presler, who was out there in Lancaster, door knocking and getting people to vote, hardly anybody showed up. Look, these retention judges that we have to vote no on 3 times also redistricted the map in 2022. They have Democrats in the House. They have more Democrats in the House district, so Democrats can win more seats in the state house and other elections. But if we kick them out and have a majority kick them out and and vote on a majority in 2027 with a special election, we can get those maps redistricted to have more Republicans then. But if not, we're stuck with Democrat judges till 2035 or 2030, I think it is 2035. So we need many people to come out and vote on November 4th. This is Pennsylvania. This is where freedom and liberty were born, where the Constitution and Declaration of Independence was signed, where the Constitutional Convention happened, where where the Gettysburg Address was spoken by Abraham Lincoln, and the Gettysburg War was fought in Gettysburg. And yet, we still don't have the freedom that we need, and we need to continue to do that constantly. And so we need to continue to keep going and keep fighting. Because if you think for a minute that the Democrats and the deep state are going to give you over your state, give you over your republic and your country and your commonwealth and your state, you're sadly mistaken. Every day is going to be a fight for your life. Every day is going to be a fight to get it back. Because we're going to end up one day being complacent and apathetic to what is going on, and we might end up like New York City could be with this Madami guy. It could end up like Venezuela in every state, and the whole country will be blue, communist, socialist, and we wondered why our restrictions is gone. It's not going to be because of the government's fault. It's going to be because of your fault because you didn't get involved in your local GOP and your elections every single day, every single year, every other month almost. We have an election, so pay attention to the elections that's going on. Pay attention to the things that's going on. There was another thing I wanted to pull up too here. Hold on. Here we go. Dan Muser talks decision not to run for governor. So let's see what's going on with him. It says if Congressman Dan Muser, Republican of the 9th District, decided to run for governor of Pennsylvania, he would have had the endorsement of President Donald Trump. That won't be the case in 2026, as Muser announced Tuesday. He will not seek the Republican Party nomination. I think over the next 18 months, I can do lot more staying in Congress than campaigning around the Commonwealth. Muser told ABC 27 News on Wednesday. Muser has publicly acknowledged interest in running for governor since January, but says he's now focused on pushing forward the president's agenda in Congress. Democratic Governors Association reacted to Muser's decision, saying even longtime Congressman Dan Muser, Donald Trump's hand-picked candidate for the Republican nomination for governor, knows he can't go up against Governor Josh Shapiro and win. State Senator Greg Rothman, who chairs Pennsylvania Republican Party, disagrees with the DGA assessment of the race. I don't buy that. I don't prescribe to that. Rothman said Wednesday, I feel confident that we are going to roll out in probably the next few weeks a really perfect nominee to take on Josh Shapiro, someone who is going to be great be a great contest. Many in the political arena believe State Treasurer Stacey Garrity may be that candidate. While Rothman declined to confirm whether Garrity is the party favored candidate, the twice statewide elected treasurer would bring forth in the military a military and business background to the campaign trail. Garrity told ABC 27 in a statement that she'll make a decision on whether or not to run very soon. He previously targeted this summer as a deadline to decide whether to challenge Shapiro and has ramped up donation emails in recent months. Last November, Garrity broke Shapiro's record for the most votes received by a state official in Pennsylvania in her re-election campaign. When she asked about Muser's decision on Wednesday, Shapiro declined to comment. State Senator Doug Mastriano, the 2022 Republican gubernatorial nominee who received Trump's endorsement, has previously said he is considering another run for governor. Please, please, he win another primary. Look, so like I said in the beginning here, Doug Mastriano, well, Stacey Garrity can win without Trump, and she can win with Trump. He's beaten Josh Shapiro's record. If there is no one better than than Stacey Garrity to win against Josh Shapiro's 2.9 million votes in 2022, it's Stacey Garrity. And um, as far as Doug Mastriano, no thank you, Doug Mastriano. No thank you, because like I said, you went too far right. And you went too far right, and this is not a far right state. This is a purple state, and we need somebody that is just in between, but still stays true to their morals and to conservative values, and that is going to get this thing running. He's doing a crazy job as state treasurer, saving millions for school choice and businesses, but we need to continue to, but we need somebody that is going to win against Josh Shapiro's popularity. And it's not going to be one trick pony, Doug Mastriano, who who ran who ran in 2022 and lost the primary. Look, how can you lost the general election? You, I mean, you can't even win two. He ran by like 44 or 14%. I can't remember, but he just totally bombed it. And he's going to bomb again. He lost his support. He lost his grassroots. He lost his base. Many people have left him. It's time to move on to somebody stronger because that name at the top of the ballot in 2026, um, either break, either break or either breaks or make the Republican PA House majority and Senate majority on the ballot as well. As we saw in 2022 when Doug Mastriano was at the top of the ticket, we lost the majority because the majority of PA House did not support Doug Mastriano and so forth. And a lot of the PAGOP people did. But there's a complete purge going on, and if you're going to purge of the MAGA movement, populist movement, um, if you're going to do that, then we need to fill these seats. I'm trying to find what I'm going to look for here. Got it. So I was going to read you something, but apparently, see if I can find. So apparently, see here. I can't find the one I was going to do. But like I said, PAGOP is under attack, or attack, MAGA is under attack. And I was going to read you. I was going to read you something from a site that apparently I don't have it up. So anyway, uh, we need to continue to fill these seats, continue to be loud and proud, and get involved in these elections, guys, and fill these recent community seats. Look, we have crazies everywhere, guys, and we have crazies everywhere. See if I can find it for you. That's actually what I was looking for. Here it is. This is written by my friend Josh Prince, who ran for Commonwealth Court Point 2 times, and uh, he didn't get the endorsement. He's when. Let me read this to you so I can get it to you. So, An Awakening, Part 3, Deep State versus MAGA Movement, The Battle for Pennsylvania's Future. This article is one that was written, revised, and revised 10 more times, placed on the shelf, and now resurrected as I spent some time quietly doing some introspection on everything going on in Pennsylvania politics and what role, if any, I am supposed to have in it at all. As many of you have known, I absolutely loathe politics, and the only reason I ever got involved in state county and local politics was because I was forced to in order to run for a statewide judicial position in 2023. While I could write an entire article on why Pennsylvania law is half, half backwards and judicial candidates should be focused or foreclosed and running under any political platform, that is not the purpose of this article. But like every article, I'm never sure where to begin because of the sheer amount of information to unpack in this instance. Reading and deep state chess moves to eradicate through assimilation through conservative grassroots, patriot groups in Pennsylvania, which I will hereinafter refer to as the MAGA group. And the absolute hardest part of writing this article and anticipated future articles is knowing that I will likely lose friends, merely the result of speaking the truth because of my dear friend Justin Faito recently discussed, which I strongly recommend you watch. We have been conditioned to pick the side instead of looking inward as to where we ourselves stand on any particular issue, regardless of the position being taken by those who love, respect, or support. And I speak from experience, having lost two friends during the recent primary because I had the audacity to a public post simply inquiring of whether Stacey Garrity had really supported robocalls, throwing throwing statewide mega candidates under the bus, and asking anyone with a recording of it to send it to me because at the time I couldn't believe after her promise to me that she would do anything to support the two state candidates in this election cycle. That she would have agreed to record the robocall quite honestly, I initially thought that it was AI generated, jealous of some and would dare to quote no greater sin could be committed because they knew the truth. She had and and they felt they had to pick a side instead of simply taking a step back, acknowledging what she did, making a decision for themselves as to whether her actions comported with their own views, regardless regardless of their relationship, regardless of their relationship with her, and if not holding her accountable in a appropriate manner. With this back with this backdrop, over the past month and a half, I've been overwhelmed by the number of mega groups and individuals throughout the Commonwealth. Um, I'm not going to go this far. And so, to answer the first question, we have to go back to before the 25 primary. During that time, they saw the PAGOP future endorsed Commonwealth court candidate acquiescent to the bribing and threatening of state committee members in violation of the PAGOP's covenant with its members. Endorsed in the primary, where the endorsed superior court candidate espoused DEI principles, while the endorsed Commonwealth court candidate's background includes, among other things, a revoked and New Jersey license to practice law, criminal convictions, one in absentia, a long history of representing the Department of Environmental Protection against the people, and during his PCN interview in response to a question regarding the judicial philosophy stating that interpreting the Constitution, you start by reading it, you understand what the intent originally was, and to the extent it still makes sense to apply the intent, that's what you do. Nothing like running a candidate who believes that a judge should decide whether your constitutional rights don't make sense for him. But I digress. Thereafter, they saw the PAGOP U.S. Commonwealth Court candidate once again acquiescent while the false video was shared, especially ripping open wounds with a grieving family without concern of all political gain. And then there was the PAGOP misleading sportsman by mimicking the orange NRA endorsement card and contending that their endorsed candidates were the defenders of the Second Amendment, and neither have ever litigated a single case in support of it. In the first primary after Mega Superior Court candidate Maria Batista was successful and contrary to the party supporting the successful Republican candidates as the PAGOP bylaw requires that the PAGOP is only provided a successful endorsed Commonwealth Court candidate with a calendar of events and fundraisers across this Commonwealth, has made sure that fundraisers know not to work with Maria and taken other behind the scenes actions in an attempt to prevent Maria from being successful in November. That's right, it's all hands on deck for the PAGOP to ensure Maria loses, regardless of cost, because she's a mega non-deep state candidate and isn't just the PAGOP. Some county chairs are doing likewise for Maria, but no longer knowing who to trust is um, not really in relation to the PAGOP, the MAGA movement. It's always been leery of and had issues with the PAGOP, although the new leadership has amplified that South dissent. Rather, it's a combination of this new, far more radical PAGOP, which I would accept more below in relation to the second question. So as you can see, there's a lot going on. You can read this under the link in this thing. You can also go to my. Oh, sorry. You can also go to my. You can also go to my Rumble channel, The Lions Den, and go to interview with Maria Batista and interview Lions Den with candidate for Commonwealth Court, Josh Prince. Listen to his interviews and what he had to say about the PAGOP and Maria Batista about the PAGOP and why she decided to run despite not getting the endorsement and so forth. But technically, just a review of it, when I did the interview with Maria Batista, and I asked her what was her aha moment that she wanted to decide to run, because she did run against the endorsement, PAGOP endorsement. And she said because they didn't give her the information, the papers that she needed to do fundraisers, and the calendar of events to do, and the list of people to contact. So she decided to do it herself. Reason why Josh Prince decided to run in 2025 primary is because he was unendorsed. The endorsement was a sham process and not an endorsement. It was more of a recommendation, and it wasn't fair. And so he said that it's only fair to give the people a choice in voting instead of endorsing a candidate and having one person on the ballot. They run opposed. So he wanted to get the challenge. He wanted to give people a choice on the ballot for democracy and getting involved. And so he did speaking engagements in Philadelphia, DeBerg County, Bucks County, um, interviews, and Maria Batista did the same thing. Somehow, one got in, the other didn't. Um, so, but they're purging. Like I said, the PHRP are purging and kicking out uh, Republican committee women and men for supporting unendorsed candidates. Now, the PAGOP bylaws say that you can support any Republican candidate in the primary. You just can't support any endorsed candidate in the general election. And so, and then it goes even farther in bylaws. I think it was like 11 something and 14, but um, but they run contradictory to each other, and none of them know what the bylaws are. The PAGOP chairman don't even know what the bylaws are. Um, read. So I suggest anybody, just anybody that's running for GOP, PAGOP, and county GOP to read the bylaws, read the bylaws, read the bylaws, read the bylaws, and know the bylaws so you can beat the rhinos at their game. It's that simple. But there's, but the people, I will tell the people who they have heard, and that is Melanie Patterson, the Fayette County GOP committee person, purged this past week for exposing corruption in the PA GOP. Anthony Puskovich, who um, opposed who opposed at the PAGOP meeting a secret ballot, or wanted to oppose secret ballot. Um, and just recently, I think it was Carmen Brown was exposed for something else, but I forget what county he is from. Notice, notice a pattern. These are all women, conservative women, who are standing up to the corrupt deep state PAGOP, and all being heard. So so with that being said, I hope you have a good day. I hope you stay active in all of this and stay involved in your PAGOP elections. Stay involved in your Pennsylvania elections and county elections. Become a precinct committeeman, um, and vote in every election. This is the people's vote. This is the people's voice. We need to deconstruct the court. We need to drain the deep state, and we need to fight for what is ours, to take back what is ours. So, like I said, we got vote no 3 times on November 4th to kick out these rotten, corrupt judges who voted who voted to kick the Green Party off and take legislative powers and redistribute the map and gave PA Medicaid funds to abortion and uh, voted for mail-in ballots 3 days past Election Day and almost lockdown. So I hope you guys have a good day. Hope you guys have a new day. Have a good day.